Hello, baby cake, baby dolls. We're going to go through HEX, PulseChain, PulseX. I want to know why they're valued the way they are. I did some thinking for you, and I have very interesting information to share. We're going to go through that in this video. If you add up all the coins, you put them together, and you use my metrics, you find out they are exactly where they kind of should be, based off the user count and everything else. Why is this important? It's because, look, I've just got some clipping information here. If you're not on my Twitter or my YouTube, I don't know what you're wasting your time for in the rest of crypto. I have a clip here where basically Maddie and my boy Westcott and Sir Axis confirm together that Richard Hart is going to be on the Crypto Banter show. And it's going to be either tomorrow or next week. It doesn't really matter, but it's just more exposure. Crypto Banter. So look at this. Ranny Boo, genius marketer as well. You can probably relate to Richard. He's got a 500,000 YouTube subscriber channel, one of the biggest in all of crypto. Everybody watches it for news, entertainment. It's really great. And they always have Richard on from time to time. But now it's time to kick into gear because the nightclub's about to open. Well, it's already open. You have to get into the back door. So PulseChain. So this is really important, okay? So this is super important because you're going to see potentially HEX on Ethereum go up with the rest of the ecosystem. And you might not know why. So this is why this is important. Is there are a lot of people who are stuck on the pulseramp.com bridge. They're stuck and they're clogged with their money. I made a video on my YouTube. I've made a video here to show you that if you have no options left, you don't know where to go, I have an option for you. I've got HEX on Ethereum. That's what I did to purchase recently. I added more to my bags of HEX on Ethereum specifically because of the liquidity bonding. So what we're going to go through, you're going to see now, all right, the valuations is not so mysterious after all when you look at all of them, all right? So how the market views all of this. This is not one person. This is like the collective mindset. So I'm trying to look at the numbers, I look at everything, and I put it all together in a story. And this is what my conclusion is. The market values all of these coins as one whole Richard Hart coin, all right? So if you add up my personal valuation metrics, what I think the market cap should be, right? Pulse, PulseX, EHEX, PHEX, you will see that they're roughly in line with top 10 crypto. So what does this actually mean? What it means is, I was wondering why, for example, Pulse, PLS, why isn't it where I think it should be based off the users? It should be, I think, 10x higher. Why? I realized, firstly, it's limited liquidity, but secondly, it's because there is an overlap between the users of Pulse, PulseX, and then the hexes altogether. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the numbers all come together. And when you look at it, you go, oh, we didn't actually add any value with the PulseChain launch yet. Not much value. There are new people, but we haven't expanded the network. We haven't added more users, new people. And this makes sense, right? The number of users in the HEX staking community is still about 155,000 or 200,000. Yeah, it's growing, but we haven't gone to like 400,000 or 600,000 yet. That's going to come. So you can see, for example, HEX, okay, they have the supply, we're shadow banned everywhere, but I'm going to show you right now, just off the top of my head. HEX has 90 billion coins circulating, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now. So HEX has, 85% goes to the origin address. I'm going to write that down here, all right? 85, so HEX, right? 85% equals OA. So just remove them. I'm going to put a red X here. Okay, so 15% equals, all right, let's just do that. I'm not going to do my super real cheat mode metric of how much I think Greg actually owns from this remaining 15%. I'm just going to assume the market assumes these all as fair. So that's 15%. And what you can actually do is you can see the price is here 3 cents, right? So 15%, and what you do is 15% of 600 billion is 90 billion, right? So 600 will be 90 billion. And we're going to do 90 billion times 90B times 0.03 cents. You should get 90 times 0.0. There we go. 2.7 billion, right? So that is what I consider HEX's market cap. This is HEX on Ethereum. Okay, so this is HEX on Ethereum. What we're going to do is actually going to get, look at this. I made this cute little logo here with this cute little hat for you so you can tell the difference, right? Now, HEX on PulseChain we can grab that data too, and you can quickly check. If you go to Dex Screener / PulseChain, you can see the actual hex here shows it's 1.7 cents. All right, so it's about half of this. All right, so roughly half. You can just, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do 2.7 billion times 0.5. It's about 1.35 billion. All right, so I'm going to write 1.35. Let's just round it up, 1.5 billion. Okay, and this is going to be the hex on PulseChain number. All right. Now, for PLS, this is where I got a bit confused, okay, at the start, but now we know the answer. So hexes, okay, so firstly, Pulse, it's starting market cap valuation that I use. Everyone's got a different measure. No one's going to agree. Everyone adds coins, removes. I don't really care. Okay, I'll use my method and that's it. My method is I give it whatever the sacrifice value is, the non-origin address sacrifice value. So I believe it's starting market cap valuation based off all the coins of $670 million. Okay, 670. Now, what I'm going to look at is the PLS price. I'm going to show you that. Okay, PLS up here is about 50% above it. So you can verify here. So WPLS, see wrapped pulse, WPLS wrapped pulse. There, see how you see this 1500, 15, yeah. So that if it was just 1,000, that would equal to sacrifice phase. Okay, so but this is actually 1500. So what I'm going to do is you just do 670 billion, right? So it's 0.67, no, 670 million. So 0.67 billion times 1.5. Add a billion market cap here. This is what we're going to do. All right. And now we can do it for PulseX as well. So I'm going to put these together. So for PulseX, there were more people in this and high amount. It raised 1 billion non-origin address. And we can go back and we can see where is PulseX on here. So PLSX, you can have a look up to the very, very top. You see it's a 4.4. That is about 56 below that market cap. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 0.5, it's around 50%, right? Times 1 billion is going to give you 500 million. All right. So it's 0.5 billion. So 0.5 billion. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to put it together here. So now, once I saw this, I'm like, wow, I got to tell my baby dolls over here because this now makes complete sense. You're probably shocked. You're like, hey, there's limited number of liquidity coming into the bridge. And you want to know that there's something going on with the numbers that doesn't represent complete total utter failure. Because you're seeing these prices down. You're like, what the hell's going on? How come offside? Well, now you know why. All right, it was a stock split. There's just a different piece of the pie. Everything's been added different ingredients, right? But it's still one pie. We have not made the pie bigger yet. It will grow. It's growing numbers every day, but it hasn't been considerably bigger. So if you just add these up, we can add all of these up. And funny enough, you add these up, you get roughly where I think the whole ecosystem is worth, right? Based off the users, right? What 2.7, 1.5 plus 1 plus 0.5. You have 5.7 billion market cap. So I'm going to write this down, okay? So what I'm actually going to do, be funny, right? I'm actually going to get just a Richard Hart picture just to show you because that's actually how the market is valuing these, right? So I'm going to write 5.7 billion altogether. Now, keep this number in mind because when I was first doing my Pulse, just PLS valuations, I kept saying, based off all the numbers, all right, so but before I split anything, I just looked at PLS itself, the numbers, the adoption, everything, and now the volume. I believe it should be 10x from its sacrifice, which means my guess, this was my original guess before I went to all these details. My guess was that PLS should be 6.7 billion market cap. So I was shocked when I found out. I'm like, wait a minute. It is that market cap. However, with the liquidity bonding and the mind share and have the network is basically full of different nodes, but everybody is in the same pie. It is that same number, roughly. You know, it's not exactly 6.7. You can't be exact. That's exactly where we land. So you can actually go, we can actually see, right? So before I actually went through in detail to see this, I looked at the coin rankings. And what I'm going to do is I want you to focus just on this column here. I want you to focus on the market cap column. So what I did was I wanted to say, all right, where roughly should we be based off the start? And it was funny enough, I think we are worth around here, right? I'm going to be honest. We just took over Polygon by the volume. But we are the new kid on the block. So I'm going to just be completely fair. Polygon and Solana, I believe we're better. But I think their network effect, they've just been around a bit too long with a bit too many people. Yeah, so far. Okay, so far. Remember, we are so new, man. We're not even a week old. So just if you were to ask me, just give me a very honest evaluation. I promise you, this is exactly where I think we should be. I believe we're definitely better than Avalanche. And I believed we are probably not ready to overtake Solana and Polygon yet. All right, so this was it's kind of amazing. I literally looked at this and I was like, okay, I think we're somewhere around here, right? We're somewhere around here, rank 15 to rank 12. Yeah. Now, my first mistake, right? Well, didn't even know it was a mistake. Before doing this, I thought if PLS is worth up here, because I didn't know, right? All the coins are being split. But I thought if PLS was up here, then we can just add all the valuations for everything else together. Unfortunately, we can't. We can't do that because we know everything goes off Metcalfe's Law, right? And you're all about the number of people in the network. It goes completely line in line with this. So when we look at all the community members in HEX, PulseChain, we all know there's a big overlap. And it's funny enough, the sacrifice money put in for PLS and PulseX and everything, the sacrifice money put in was also an overlap of the money. So people had a lot of HEX. Big chunk of it was put into Pulse and a big chunk of it was put into PulseX. So we weren't really adding an extraordinary amount of new people. It was just a vote of confidence by the existing members that they believe in it, which is great. I mean, that's perfect, okay? Because this is actually the best for our bags. You don't want to get in when there's heaps of new people. But what's better than that? So I asked myself, I thought, hey, what's actually better than getting in with a lot of people? Because what if you're just stuck with them? Because you're going to buy the same price as them. And that means everybody's got a very average poopy price. So now we know, based off this, what I've told you, you didn't actually get in with the potential of all the people coming in. We got in with just very rich, highly confident people within the existing network. That's what we were able to do. So HEX OGs who put in like $1 million, 1.5, 800K plus into everything. Those were the people we were going with. All right. So this is a big difference because the number of people, if it doesn't keep expanding, then your valuation is not going to go up. But also there are different mechanics you can look at. But when it comes to what we're trying to place Richard Hart as, now you know that if you just put everything together, everything lines up. Everything. So how do we use this in our strategy? Well, I already told you, I made a video. That's why I said one of my videos, right? Buy HEX on Ethereum if you are stuck in the bridge, just because it's part of the same network. Now, you're not going to get maybe the biggest part of the rotation because this is where everything is going to get a bit juicy. So I'm just going to do, right, here's going to do just some people. Some people, they're all out here chilling. These people are going to come in. All right, these people are going to come in. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to move Richie over here. These people are going to come in, and me and you, this is what's a guessing game. All right, we don't know. Are they going to come HEX on Ethereum, HEX on PulseChain, PLS, PLSX? We don't know what ratio they're going to come in, but it's all liquidity bonded. That's the most important part. So when they come in, they're going to come in through the SPI, which is effectively what they're going to do is, this is a beautiful part. All right, so here's PLS USD. This is the SPI, PLS USD. So don't even worry that it's PLS specifically, but when they come in, these people, this is the beautiful part. Right? This is the actual beautiful part right here. These people, when they come in, they're going to come in straight in for this. And from PLS going up, everything goes up or down. So look at this. So yeah, if PLS goes up, we're rising. If PLS goes down, oh no, we're sinking. All right, so this is what's going to happen. The ratios can change if players within this ecosystem decide that they want a big vote one way or the other. So if a giant player in PulseX decides, you know what, I don't want this DEX coin, I want to hold the PLS. If they decide that, the ratio changes. So we might find, instead of this, you might find, PLS becomes 1.25 billion and this becomes 0.25. All right. But this is just a guess. They don't have to. If we really believe that the mind share links everyone up together, then this isn't really something we have to worry about. I already went through in another video all these ratios. This is what I wanted to see. All right. We had basically mayhem, everyone offside, etc. This is the beautiful part. I've got to repeat this to you. The ratio did not capitulate. This was the best part. And by the way, recapitulation, you want me to know, capitulation would be down here. This is what I wanted to see. Well, what we didn't want to see was the ratio just going like this. Then we're like, oh, it's over. It didn't do that. It held up. So that tells me, even amongst all the panic and people can't getting in and people think there's a bug, and here I am saying, hey, maybe it was done on purpose to kind of make the line out the door and increase demand for our network. Even though all that chaos was going around, no one panicked. No one paper-handed. So nobody lost faith in the PulseX as a DEX. No one lost faith in the ecosystem as well. This is useful information for perhaps where we're going to go in the future. So now, here comes this is the harsh reality we got to deal with. Crypto is probably going to grow really big in the next cycle. It's going to continue. But you can't tell me that what I'm about to do. Okay, you can't do this. You can't tell me, all right, I'm going to add up all my valuations for my targets. And if this number sounds too big to you, I don't think you can ignore it personally. All right. So effectively what I'm saying is, I think the real target for all these coins does not lie in their individual numbers. I think it lies with the combination. That's where I think it lies. All right. Now, to let you know, Cardano, for example, Cardano hit. Let's look at this. Cardano hit 100B in 2021. Binance hit 100B in 2021. That's a 2021 peak. So effectively, whatever your portfolio value is for all of these coins, you're right, HEX, PHEX, EHEX, PLS, and PLSX, right? So whatever your market cap, what your value is for all that, perhaps we might say, hey, the minimum base target should be a 20x, whatever your whole portfolio is. So that includes, hey, if you got got $5,000 in PLS, you got $500 in PulseX, $500 in Pulse, you got $2,000 here. Just add them all up together, right? Maybe the answer is a rough 20x. Now, we don't know. The ratios might move along that time, but just kind of assume that they're going to keep liquidity bonding together because of the yield farms. So this is what I'm going to be doing moving forward. I have complete faith that everybody's going to completely forget and throw out what I'm saying in about 2.5 years. When euphoria and thrill and optimism and all those phases of the market come, no one's going to be caring about this at all. But I'm letting you know that I am, all right? This is how I'm going to be valuing it. Because what you want to do at that point is you want to think rationally. So there might come a point where HEX is $1 billion each. $1 each up here. PulseX and Pulse are up on the moon, but you want to be valuing them compared to another big crypto community. That's what you want to do. So perhaps we can't say yet that all the coins are going to end up in one spot. Maybe we have to think about it hey, if I add them all up, this is where we're going to get. Now, my final message, right? So this is actually the kicker here. The kicker is this. I've made a very conservative assumption. So this is where it's getting interesting. I've assumed that everybody who joins is going to have the same principles as the existing members. I know this is false. What I mean by that, we could see the new wave of people. So Bitcoin maxis had to go through this. Ethereum maxis had to go through this. So the people who founded the stuff and who founded the assets at the beginning, their ideals and how they believe things work, it eventually morphs. And they get diluted because it's decentralized. There's more people. There's people with new visions, new dreams, new ethics, new morals. Bitcoin maxis, right? Decentralization ain't really too crash hot. Remember in 2021, you had Michael Saylor in the Bitcoin mining thing. He wants to make a governance council. You see how things changed over 10, 15 years? But Michael Saylor was happy to buy Roger Ver's 29,000x bag. Literally that high with $1 billion, over billions of dollars. So think about that. So the morals changed and he got more convicted. Right, of how he believes it goes. So this doesn't mean the bags won't pop, but this just means the people coming in next. So if there's 200,000 people, which there is about in HEX ecosystem, 200,000, maybe in all of this together, perhaps the next 800,000 are going to be completely different kettles of fish here. They're going to have different morals, different ethics. They're going to FOMO buy in different stuff. We have no idea how they're going to do it. This is why my job is to kind of figure out, hey, do they want PLS or do they want PLSX? We don't know. That's why I really believe just have both, man. Have both, right? So when it comes to looking at these, you're going to have to think about these next batch of people and how they're going to approach this whole ecosystem. But at the end of the day, does it really impact your bags? I believe only if you are stacked super heavy in one. That's the risk you take. I don't think it's going to be bad, but now you're kind of taking a risk, right? So what I will do is I would try to spread myself out to everything here, right? All 4 coins. That's personally what I would do. I've done. You don't have to do it in 100%, like 25% exactly each, but just have an appreciation for all of them. Because if you are not in the one that ends up going like to be the dark horse, you never forgive yourself. All right. So now at the end of the day, you know, with these valuations, you're going to have new people coming in. They're probably going to have new morals and ethics, but this is the base estimate of where I think we can go in the next bull. Like this is absolutely conservative. So this is me doing a 20x on everything from now. The whole ecosystem, everything does a 20x. But I mean, the numbers aren't too crash hot when you think about it, but this is just our very small starting base. That's why there's a lot of potential just within the community itself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, as Bitcoin and Ethereum's price rise and the price sentiment starts getting higher, the bulls will start to come out, the numbers will start to flourish, and the network effect for this will start to expand. What I'm looking for specifically, I want to see those HEX stakers, because we can use that maybe as a proxy for everything else, because the other numbers, right, I'll just show you this, right, last thing. So look into HEX in the adoption, because it's going to be too hard to see how many real Pulse holders there are. We're going to need to see real proper numbers. And it's also going to be hard to see about PulseX, because a lot of people might have a tiny amount, how many people are using. Before we get those numbers, we can just use the HEX stakers as a proxy, because no one's going to stake with like 10 HEX, for example, right? So this is about 155,000. So I expect this to keep going up and to the right, the number of users, and then we can use that as a guess to say like, okay, well, if the HEX community started, 155,000, and now it's up to like, let's say in the future it goes up to 450,000, right? You've done a 2x on the user base, right? So let's say it goes up as 450,000 is about, it goes about here, for example, right? So you've done 2x user base, which will give you maybe a 4x on the ecosystem. And that's why this will be absolutely amazing, friends. If we got to 1 million one day, I mean, these numbers are giant. If this actually gets to 1 million, I mean, you have done, from here, you've done an 8x on the user base, which will give you 64x on the price. I mean, and look, the combined value of EHEX and PHEX right now is about 0.04. I think so, around that 0.045, right? So if you just do 64x on that, oh my God. Wow. You got $2.88. And hey, if you assume parity, let's divide that by 2. There you go. There's my like $1.50 each. That's where I get my targets. My targets come from this, okay? So you've learned a lot today, baby dolls. You're a baby doll pumpkin. And tell mom and dad that you love them. I'm going to catch you in the next one.